Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the book club. What if a transformational journey? I'm so sorry, you guys. I was doing some things and I looked at my phone and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 11:59. I need to I need to get on. I need to get this started. So I just lost track of time just a teeny bit. Just a teeny bit. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hello. So, what if a transformational guide? Before we get into the question, I am Toni Greene. I am a psychic medium, hypnotist, and channel. I channeled this as well as all of my other books that have been authored. Also do hypnosis and healing work. Most of the healing work is also channeled. Um, and then let's see, I go live every Monday at noon and answer questions, help people connect to loved ones on the other side. I do private sessions for all of the work that I offer, and you can call in on Podbean or share in the chat your feelings on today's question. We take this time to answer one question from the book. If you like what you're seeing here today, you might want to go back and listen to some of the other shows, some of the other questions we've done so far. Today's question: what if when we all work together, it can tip the scales and we can make magic, peace, and harmony? Now, this question kind of, it didn't throw me, but I think there's a number of different ways we can look at this question. So working together doesn't necessarily mean we are, for example, in a work office and all working on a team collaborating. We can all just have the same goal, work individually but together toward the same goal. Um, there are so many different ways to look at every question in this book. My perspective is just one of the perspectives. There are many different perspectives and many different ways. And part of the reason I wanted to do the book club is so that we could discuss all the different ways. And like I said, these questions were channeled. So when I wrote these questions and did this book, there was not a specific way I meant any question in this book. It was very open ended, and however you perceive it or whatever you get from this, in whatever way, working together. And I do believe everything comes from within first and then collaborates externally, good or bad. So, it's the old adage, if you're having a very bad day, you'll run into people who will make that day worse. But if you're having a very good day, you will run into people who makes that day better. So, I'm going to read it again. What if when we all work together, it can tip the scales, and those scales, I'm gonna break it down again. Those scales can be the scales of anything from energy to frequency, which could be the same thing to some people, to justice, to finances, whatever it is, tip the scales, and we can make magic, peace, and harmony. And then we look at what is magic. We know we have an idea of what peace is, at least peace for each and every one of us. It might look different, and harmony. So, having said that, I'm going to start taking callers, and I really want us to focus in as much as we can on the question today. And I am in a second. Oh, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca. I really want us to focus in on the question and give as many perspectives as possible to this, hey, Fawn, to this particular question. If you want to call in, you can go over to Podbean. I go live with the show noon every Tuesday to talk about this question or the question on in the book. I'm sorry, my brain just did a little stall out where I forgot for a second. But yes, you can join us every Tuesday at noon and we discuss one question. If I didn't say that in the beginning, I want to just make sure I'm saying it now. So I really, there's so many different ways to look at this question and to work with this question and to have such a broad perspective or a very narrow perspective. Like if everybody were in your home, let's do this. If everybody in your home works together, there will be peace and harmony. And if they don't, there weren't. Now, if we take that to the neighborhood and then the city and then the state and then the country and then the world, but we don't have to. I just want to say I don't believe we have to like sit down and say, this is what we're going to do, because it would be inauthentic for many of the people. But what we would have to do is look at ourselves and look at the outcome we want, not only for ourselves, but for everybody else, but starting with ourselves. Because I believe what we want for ourselves, we would or could want for everybody else. Like if you want happiness and health and wealth for yourself, you probably also want that for your children. You probably also want that for your siblings, and you probably also want that for your friends. I'm just assuming if we're here on this podcast today or this show today, that's the type of person you are, right? It just is. So if we are in a place of wanting that and we first harvest it within ourselves and work on it, and I do believe we are all an example of what we want in this world. We're putting out what we want in it, or we try to. Then we are automatically connecting, knowingly or unknowingly, to those on that same vibe that want that same thing. Okay, I hope everybody understands that. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Noel. Let's see if I missed anybody. Nope. Okay, love this. Okay, so if you would like to call in, you can call in. Hey, Shelly, how are you? Rebecca called in first. So, Rebecca, if you'd like to go first, you can.
All right. My answer is kind of when I read the question, and good morning, everyone, or afternoon. My answer is kind of like when I read this, my imagination, it's like a fairy tale, and I picture cartoons. I love cartoons, and it will be like to me, it's like we all work together. The sun will be shining all day. There will be love and happiness, tears of joy, and smiles all over. It's literally, that's how I see like a cartoon, but maybe I don't understand the question right, but that's what I picture.
No, that's perfect. And again, one of the things with this book, and I think it's inside the book, is that I tell, or at least I tell everybody, the first time you go through the book, your answer might be here. And then the next time you go through the book or a question, your answer will be here. And then if you go through it again, it's going to be there. And so I really 100% believe that's true. I believe that, Rebecca. And whatever your answer is, That's the outcome you are seeking. That's the energy and the manifestation that you're putting out in the world. So, Crazy Lady says, you are what you surround yourself with. Yes. But, Crazy Lady, do you believe that you can change what you surround yourself with? So, I'm going to give a couple quick examples. So if you show up someplace and everybody's in a good mood, but you're in a very cranky mood, um, and you dominate the conversation with your sadness or your crankiness, you have temporarily changed the dynamic of that group, correct? But then also, if you show up and you're in the best mood, you have either added to or taken from the group. Now, that's on a one little surround yourself with for a temporary amount of time. But for a longer period of time, if you're around people who are not having the same goal as you, having the same energy as you. So I'm going to give another example here. If let's just say you meet someone, everything's great, and then and this is nothing personal to anybody. You end up in a relationship with this person, you don't realize they're depressed. Who's going to win that? And it's not a competition. So please don't take the word at win as in that typical way. But if you are living with someone 24/7, or at least the hours you're at home, and they're depressed, you really might not be able to pull this person out. So can you survive that and stay in your energy? Because you can't be responsible for somebody else's emotions. And yes, you are what you surround yourself with 100%. So make sure you surround yourself with some people that this is why I say take your time in the beginning of a relationship, because you never ever ever know. You never know. Hey, Michelle, welcome to the show. Hey, at first time here. The question today is, and this is from the book, a What If, a Transformational Guide. Today's question is, what if when we all work together, it can tip the scales and we can make magic, peace, and harmony? Now, going back to the example of depression, I do believe it's a frequency, and if a strong enough frequency can come in, but it has to be strong and it has to be consistent, and it has to be somebody who's not trying to fix that person, because then you get sucked in, can change it, but the person also has to want that change. Okay, so hey Obed, how are you? um so Rebecca, I love what you wrote. Absolutely love that. Fawn, do you wanna say what you is that's a song. Say what you I don't know. Go ahead, Fawn.
Go ahead. And good afternoon, everybody. I so agree with this, actually, and I have an example. I'm going to tell you a story too, but I do believe that energy changes things. That if we have positive energy or high vibrational energy, that it will spread to others. That they can actually feel the they can kind of actually they can't actually like see our aura, most people, but they have a sense of it. They just have a sense of you, and they will just smile at you, and they actually feel your energy. When you have really good energy and you just smile at somebody, they can just smile back and feel your energy. That's how I believe. Anyways, I do believe that very much so, and I believe that every bit of kindness that you can spread and do for people, that actually makes a difference too. Just being kind to people can make such a difference, because we don't know what people are going through, and you can just try to change their vibration, their energy, by showing them some kindness and some love. If we can just be love all the time and kindness all the time, and that's an ideal world, right? Like, which we're not in, but I wanted to also say that it's funny because I was thinking about the different regions right before you mentioned that. And for me, there was a different vibration where I was located before. Some of you know, well, everybody on the book club knows I relocated. So I was in a different vibration. And from the first year that I was in that vibration, I noticed a difference. I noticed a big, big difference. And it was really, really difficult to maintain my positive vibration and high vibration when I was constantly always having to deal with people that were not that way. They would try to drag you down or bring you down. And it was just a big, big challenge for me. And a growing period for me being there. For 10 years, I was in the situation. 10 years, I was in a city I didn't like. I was brought there for a reason. And I was having to deal with all of this. But also during that period that I was there, I had so much growth that I myself grew to understand that there were so many differences in the people in the world that I didn't know about, because I had lived in a small little sheltered town where you didn't notice the differences in the vibrations of the different people and the different cultures. And when you go into there and you feel all the different cultures and you're just involved in that and you have never been in that place, it really hits you. It really hits you and you're like, oh, wow, this is really different. So you have to really learn your boundaries and just kind of really gauge people and be observant when you're out and about, when you live in an atmosphere where it's maybe not always that positive, right? And so there's just so much to learn from that. But if you can come together with a community and try to rise above and still be positive, you can do that. But for me, I had to eventually say that this wasn't the right place for me. And I'm just being honest because, I am honest, just to let you know, I'm very truthful. And so I was relocated to somewhere else, which I believe this is going to be a kinder, nicer, better place. I felt the vibration immediately. We've been here 3 times. And I do feel this is going to be a better fit for me. So I think that there's a lot to say about energy, and you can be guided to another area. And so I've now been guided to a new state, a new area, and I embrace the growth and the changes that I will see. And I hope that this will just help me even more, to be the kinder, positive person that I am meant to be. But can I tell you a little story that has nothing to do with this? This is a story about my cats, okay? This is a story about being in a different environment. So when I was in my other location, there was a lot of chaos even in the neighborhood with the cats, right? So my entire house was chaos with the cats. The cats constantly fought. I had one that was spraying. It was chaos. I had one cat trying to get the other cat, everything. We came here, peace, calm. Sure, they're scared. It's been 4 days, but it's not even the same at all. I can already tell it's much better here. So I think that even for animals, for humans, for everybody, the energy is going to be felt, and you can just do what you can to protect yourself, and then try to find the best place you can do to go out and spread your kindness, and the best place you can. So that's my story. The cats are doing better now.
Well, that's good. That's good. And Fawn, absolutely. There are a couple things you said, and I didn't want to interrupt you, so I'm going to try to think back. So one of the things I truly believe, how we feel about the people in the situation will determine where it takes us. For example, if we are, for example, in a situation with someone we are married to, or we are there are parents, and that situation, let's do the married to, partner living with situation first, and then I'll do work, and then I'll do parents. If we're in a situation with, let's just say, somebody we're living with and we care about, that we cannot change, and we very rarely can change another person. They have to actively find that inside of them and bring it out. It will eventually, depending on how we feel about them, because if it's just a roommate, we'll be like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my roommate, and we can move and get out of that situation. But if it's a person that we're literally, let's just say, married to, or a co-parenting and living with, um, it changes the dynamic, and we start to feel stuck, and we realize we can't change the frequency of that person. The same thing if we go to work and there are difficult personalities there, we might try to go to work and be very uplifted, but then we realize this person's always going to be this person. So we try to avoid them, but eventually might find another job. Now, if it's a parental situation, once you hit a certain age, you don't have to have a connection with your parents, but we do. We stay in connection with them, but we can minimize it. So depending on the situation will determine the amount of contact and our ability to get out of the situation. But here's where it comes in and becomes interesting. If we start to feel responsible for these people or a person, knowing we cannot change them, that makes it very, very difficult. That's why sometimes if you have aging parents that are not doing well, but they're like, let's just say, cranky, having someone come in to care for them can change that dynamic also, because loved ones feel like, and we do this as humans, we behave one way with people we're familiar with and another way with people we are not familiar with. Okay. Now I want to go back to the question, and the question again: what if when we all work together, it can tip the scales and we can make magic, peace, and harmony? And I want to go beyond. Hey, Elizabeth, thanks for joining. I want to go beyond the actual, like, working together with people right in front of us, because I want to enter something in. If you're comfortable with it, accept it. If you're not, um, there's a grid. Let's just say, for example, there's a grid. And this grid is a beautiful blue. And it's of a certain frequency. And this grid, along with many other grids, is like a little bit up above us. Okay. Now, whether we've met people or not physically, when we are all working toward people who are working toward the same thing, can start to connect energetically. So I'm taking this question from me and you working on the same thing, to working towards something and people we don't even know connect to it in a way that we would never even know because we haven't met them yet. So there's this grid. Now there are other grids. There are white grids, there are gray grids, whatever you want to call it. And wherever your emotions are, that's the grid you're temporarily locked into. So with this grid, if you have the goal to be for yourself, and it all starts inside of us, because we can't teach, give, or do what we don't know or have, or we can fake it for a little bit, right? But what's inside of us is what eventually comes out of us, whatever that is. And we've all run the gamut. As infants, we've had like, you know, joy that we don't allow ourselves to have now because we control our emotions. We've been taught to control, have a certain amount of control in our emotions. As children, we could get so excited about Christmas morning and presents. And then as you get older, that excitement fades because you realize you're the one paying for Christmas. I'm kidding. But we get the joy from other people opening the gifts and such. Um, and at different times when we were younger, we could allow just so much good emotion to bubble out of us without thinking twice. But we could also, like, if we scraped our knee, we could cry and have those emotions too. So my point is, we've all run all the emotions. We've run the gamut of emotions. We know how to have those emotions. um, as adults, we don't allow ourselves to run the full gamut of joy and happiness and sadness. We control it and get on with our day. So there's a grid and it's blue. And this grid is, let's just say, this is the grid you're either working on or working toward. Okay. Now, we're all on a grid someplace. We're vibrating, and through the day, we might go from, let's just say, a light gray grid to a white grid, or to a clearer grid, or to the blue grid. And I'm not saying the white or the blue is higher. I'm just using, they're showing me the blue grid. So I'm using that one. But whatever grid you're on, whatever grid you're currently connecting to, throughout the world, people are connected to that grid. And it may be even throughout the universe. We're not going to go that far today. We're just going to say throughout this world, people are connected to that grid. And then our souls are in some way connected. Our souls are then interacting on a grid that we are connected to. And we are moving through this world, adding to that grid. Whew, I was hoping they were going someplace with this. Whew, finally got it. Okay, we're getting there. We're moving through this world, adding to that grid. So if we're like depressed and sad, and everybody goes through grief and depression and breakups and loss and bankruptcy and losing people and jobs and blah, 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 blah. We all go through it. Then for as long as we're going through those emotions, we're adding to that grid, making that grid stronger. God, I love where they're going with this. Do you guys get it? Do you know where they're going with this? Do you know where they're going? I love it. Okay. So then when we start to come out of the funk, let's call it the funky grid, the lower funky grid, we start to go up. And sometimes we can spring right back to, like, let's just call it the blue grid again. So then we're back up there, and we are collectively adding to this grid. Now, the more people that don't know, working with, knowingly or unknowingly, that are on the blue grid or the white grid, the stronger that grid becomes. Okay. Now, when that grid becomes the primary source of whatever, that becomes the dominant energy. Love this. Now, the dominant energy will then tip the scales or influence if it's the blue grid, for example, bring up all the other grids a bit because it's the dominant energy, it's the dominant force, at least temporarily. Okay. So if we're working toward that personally, and we know everybody in this group is collectively working toward that, even though we don't sit down and discuss, I'm working toward healing my soul, and that we all know we're on that journey and we're working on it. So we're working toward a upper grid, frequency, energy, but frequencies run on grids. Now let's just say, as we collectively work toward it, as we collectively or individually work toward, we're on this grid and we're working toward this grid. Meaning, and for those of you on Podbean, I'm sorry, I'm not. I'll use my words. I'm so sorry. Let's say we're on the gray grid, the light gray grid, and we're working toward the clear grid or the white grid. It's because we want to get to the blue grid, the high grid, and it's infinite. The grids are infinite because we can become euphoric, 24/7 euphoric, out of our mind, high grid, like laughing at everything because we understand not that it's funny, but it's a moment in time and the moment will pass and everything will be okay. And we don't invest in the emotions that go along with it. You guys, the tone in my ear, I bought these tuning forks and they're phenomenal, but the tone in my ear is one of the tuning forks right now. So there's this frequency coming in that's crazy right now. Okay, so as we if we get to that euphoric, what they would call euphoric, and then doctors would diagnose you as insane because you're not like buying into the emotional displacement of the emotional systems and the anger and the fear that they're like silver spoon feeding every day. You, as you go up, you and it's infinite, and you can get to this euphoric point. Are you productive at that point? Probably not, because at that point you're more out of body and like where you're just like, none of this even matters. Why are you so upset? None of it even matters. If you could see and understand from where I see, and none of it even matters. None of it even matters. But to be productive here, we stay within a certain frequency or grid that is, and I'm going to go back to this word, write it down, put it every place, comfortable. We stay where we are comfortable. People stay where they are comfortable. They stay with what they know until they don't. So if you've been in a high frequency, like Catherine, can I use you as an example for a second? And then Noelle, can I use you after I use Catherine? I just know a little bit about their lives, and I wanna use you. That was like the worst singing voice of all my bad singing voices I've ever had. Okay, Catherine's this really amazing woman, and she travels a bit. She has an amazing family, amazing kiddos, and her frequency and her grid is always pretty up there. Now she knows that frequency. Okay. Now I'm not gonna, but has lost her parents at some point in her life, so that frequency went down, but she came back up because she was familiar with this frequency. Okay, she's familiar, and this is a comfortable frequency for her. It's a very, very comfortable frequency for her. Now, She is one of the people I know that actively progress in things that she's doing and and get up there and experiment and do things. And so knowing that her frequency is here, okay? And it's good. It's solid. Now I'm going to use Noelle, who I adore also. I adore all of you, by the way. I adore each and every one of you. Noelle works with music, and music is one way to, as long as it's the right music, like techno and death metal, heavy metal, and that music that what is it called? It's not techno, but it goes oh my god, I can't even do that. It's just the worst rate, like rave music that will dysregulate you so fast and take your nervous system and your frequency right down the toilet. Um, that's why you have to be on drugs to listen to it. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Um, okay. So with Noelle, if she's working at a point where she's working with music, her frequency is going to be going up and up and up and up. But then if she interacts with someone who is how do I say this? That's not on that frequency, it may bring her back down again. So, and you don't have to work with music, you can just listen to music, but music that's happy and makes you happy, and the lyrics are positive and not sad. But if we go through, and Noelle has experienced very good frequencies throughout her childhood, she has experienced higher frequencies, but then she has also experienced, like all of us, a lower frequency or a lower grid with certain people you can interact with, whether it's family, friend, whatever it is. Um, so, in knowing that, even if we are dealing with someone who might bring us to a little bit of a lower grid, we want to be able to flip back up to that higher grid again. So we have to do and play is the biggest, most important word I can use. Experiment, but like in a fun way. Do you remember, you guys? I want you all to think back to when you were kiddos. Um, Jemiah, Janaya, Crazy Lady. I want you guys to interact also. I want you to write down when you were kids something you did that was somewhat adventurous but fun. Like maybe with your siblings, maybe like whatever it was. So, one of the things me and my siblings, certain siblings would do is we would always be playing games like Cowboys and Indians or whatever. I remember like being tied to a chair by one of my siblings and like in my mind I didn't care I was tied to the chair because I knew I was an escape artist and I was going to get out. I didn't care how they tied me. I was like, I'll get tied to the chair. Still kind of like that. But I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'll get tied to the chair because my goal, that was not torture to me because I knew no matter what they did, I was going to get out of that. And that was the fun of it for me. Like, you can't tie me down, ha ha ha, and getting out of it. And then, being able to do. Well, we would play hide and seek and all these crazy things. Um, and again, just having that fun and adventure, right? So I want you to think about I want you to think about something from your childhood that was just fun while you were doing it. It was just pure fun while you were doing it. and it was a little bit adventurous. Like you didn't have fear with it. It wasn't sad. You didn't have fear. You didn't have that, oh, we have to get back to whatever. Motorcycles, Crazy Lady rode motorcycles. I love that. Oh my gosh. Those scare the bejesus out of me. Not much scares, moped everywhere. Um, that those scare the bejesus out of me. I can do like a bike, but a motorcycle scares the bejesus. Rebecca riding a bike and roller skating, yeah, awesome. Those things, yeah. When we just didn't have the fear of getting hurt. We didn't have the fear. And so we need to get back at least a little bit of that. Fawn says motorcycles and horses. Oh my gosh, I love horses. Again, the motorcycle thing, not so solid on that, but you guys go for it. But can you imagine doing the things on a motorcycle today, getting on a motorcycle and having that reckless abandon, is that what it's called, that you had when you were younger? Could you imagine that, you guys? Could you? Crazy lady says, yep. Absolutely. Anything with water or horses. Yeah, horses are amazing. I'm right there. And crazy lady says, still do. I love that. So when you're doing this, when you're on the horse, when you're on the motorcycle, if you can still let go of all of that, you can get back into that not freezing, that I'm so sorry. You can get back into that frequency that raises the grid, that frequency that puts you up there because you're playing. It's not work, you're playing. So, what I want you to do is figure out where's your comfort zone right now. Okay. And a lot of us have come a long way. Maybe not, maybe in childhood we were at one frequency, but then, life did what it does and it taught us a lot. It trained us in areas we weren't familiar with. It took us through heartache and breakup and certain things, right? And we're coming back from that, right? And now we're at a better frequency, or maybe just life has been a little bit challenging, or we've been around family members that haven't been the best. And now we've found our frequency where our comfort zone is. And I want you to think of your comfort zone frequency. And I can tell you your comfort zone, your frequency matches your finances, matches your neighborhood, or at least your house, matches your work or the people at work, the type of work, company that you work for. And then now I want you to think of something outside of your comfort zone that's up a little bit. Now, we don't always go from where we are to here. We sometimes slowly we're digging stuff out, right? We're shoveling out the poop, and then before we know it, we're at this frequency, and then all of a sudden the move comes in, and we're with those company or home or whatever it is. Um, but it took work to get there, and now the move comes, because if we would have went the way we are, it might not have been successful. So now the move comes, and then we are in this space where we're still working on it so we can go up again. But I want you to think of your comfort zone frequency, your comfort zone grid, and then I want you to think of the next step. And I want you to play. I really do. I want you to play and find things that put you in a higher frequency. Now, another way that I could say this and help you get there or understand it is with an emotion. But emotions are fleeting, but so is everything else in this world. I said, the frequency levels are never ending, and you could end up in this euphoric, can't even do anything frequency because you just get the whole world is an illusion, kind of like the song from Styx, Welcome to the Grand Illusion, right? And you finally get it and you go, none of this even matters, right? But we don't want to be there, at least not yet. But we want to be in that frequency where things are coming easily. We don't have worry, we don't have this, we don't have that. So I want you to think of the mood, the state of mind you would like to be in that would be the next frequency up. Okay. Now, I am going to say this because I don't want anybody to be hard on themselves. It doesn't matter what frequency or emotion you're taking on, things come in that will bring your frequency down. You'll, your, you know, life will happen. Experiences that are not the best experience will come in. But then you re-regulate yourself very quickly back to that space where your comfort zone is. You no longer stay down here. You understand. And I think understanding is one of the most important things because when we have understanding, we understand it's a frequency. We understand it's a grid that we're all participating in. We understand it's temporary. We understand it's okay to be sad, but we don't have to stay there. We can elevate again. And it doesn't mean, let's say somebody passes. Let's say we have somebody who passes. We've all had our pets and our people pass, um, and somebody passes, right? And of course we're going to be sad, but we can separate our emotions and say I'm sad about this, but I'm going back here, and every once in a while I'm going to feel this sadness, but then I'm going to be back up here again. I'm going to stay in my frequency. And as a matter of fact, I realize this person has passed. And guess what? Now I'm going to go even higher because I realize life is shorter than I even thought it was. And we don't know. And I'm just going to be in this space now. I'm going to be up here in this space. And I'm going to stay up here in this space. And I'm going to be happy up here in this space. And yes, this will make me sad when I think of it, but that's not where I'm going to live anymore. Even if we lose our position in a company, we say, okay, this doesn't make me feel good, but I'm going to find something right away. Even if it's temporary, I'm going to find it right away so I have some stability and it doesn't bring me down and I don't live in fear. Now, fear is a very important word here because everything, I'm going to go a little bit this way now. Everything, and I'm going to use some words here. We watch TV programs, programming, programs. We are programmed, and I'm saying it that way intentionally, that are designed to make us fearful, skeptical, paranoid, right? Right. We have on our social media where it takes our emotions up, down, up, wait, up, down, up, and then way down intentionally to sell us things. So in the scan of 3 minutes, 5 minutes, our emotions have gone on a roller coaster, which has programmed our mind to purchase something that will make us feel good or that we might want. And this is this is their marketing. I can't say it, but our media is programming a certain frequency, because that frequency will help us to be um, under it will keep us under a certain spell, control, whatever you want to call it. I cannot tell you the last time I even turned a TV on. I really can't. It's been a very, very long time since I've turned one on. I cannot tell you the last time I've watched a full program or movie, because I know. And once you know, it's kind of sad for a second, but then you realize you have the power. Like on social media, if you're going and flipping through things and you see something sad, you go, "Oh yeah, this is part of the programming. Flip, flip. I don't want to see that. I only want to see things that make me laugh. Flip, flip, flip until I laugh, or flip, flip, flip until I see something that increases my frequency or my knowledge. Flip, flip, flip until I get something I want." I'm not randomly allowing things in, because we are sponges and we are taking in everything. Okay. So let's go back to the grid now. I want you to imagine 20 grids, even though there are infinite number of grids. I want you to imagine 20 grids, and everybody on here, everybody on, I want you 1 through 20. What grid do you think you're on? Just pop it in. Pop in the grid you believe you're on, 1 through 20. And there's no right and there's no wrong, and everybody's going through things. 15, crazy lady, love that. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm sorry I haven't read your guys' comment, but I do know Noelle brought up the retreat again, and love to do a retreat near or far. And then, but I can't organize it myself because I have so much difficulty figuring out what day and time even to run a show, you guys. Okay, so Michelle 14. Oh, hey, EMAC. I hope I said that correctly. 12, Catherine 14. 1 is low, 20 is high. I'm getting closer. I'm on 17. Awesome. Okay, now I want you to, just for the sake of this, not sure, but aura is white and sometimes blue. Love that. Love that, Fawn. Rebecca 17. Janaya, crazy lady fit. Janaya, where do you think you are? If you're comfortable sharing. And I want everybody to share, because we're a little group and we love each other, and we listen and we don't judge. Although some of those I can't help it. I'm just like, I'm judging. No, I'm not. Okay, so now I want you to imagine we're going to add 21 through 30. Okay, and I want you to imagine someone that you think is on a 30. What would that look like? What would that be like? And it wouldn't be somebody who's like always walking around happy, because that might be a little bit of a false front. Somebody trying to portray happiness. But it might be somebody more like and I'm just going to throw some names out, even if I'm not agreeing with these people, because I know they're part of the whatever. A 30 might look like somebody who is very, very strong in business and emotionally unwavered. Like nothing gets to them. No, somebody could say something to them and they'd be like, and okay, can we get back to this? They don't take things they don't take things personally. They can allow it to slide. Okay? That might be what a 30 looks like. It might be. For everybody it's different. Now we think the goal is euphoria and to walk around happy all the time. And that might be part of it. But then I just want to point this out. If we're happy and we're at this, if we go down even a teeny bit, it might make us feel devastated. We want to be in a state where emotions are so stable, nothing gets to us, right? So nothing at work can get to us if that promotion doesn't come in, if that coworker is being very crotchy, if our partner's having a bad day. It doesn't mean we walk around with a smile on our face acting like nothing happened. We are detached from it and we say, I'm so sorry. We can be empathetic, but we're not involved, is a way I would want to say it. So I want you to think about what that would feel like for you. Now, in this question, which I'm going to repeat one more time, what if when we all work together, it can tip the scales and we can make magic, peace, and harmony? I want to point out that doesn't mean it doesn't mean you have this agenda and everybody is on that agenda. It means you are working toward and moving toward and accomplishing the best version of you. And in doing that, and I always say, love you, unconditionally love you, unconditionally be you, unconditionally have love for yourself, because whatever is in here is going out there. And that's how we tip the scale. The more love we have, the less fear we have. The more love we have, the less hate we have. Now, this isn't love like, oh, I love my ex. Well, if he's your ex, I'm sure that love might not be there the same way. I love my partner so much. I love them more than I love myself. And I think everybody understands that statement, but that's not maybe the healthiest place to be. That love should be with us because we should not be self-sacrificial. We should not be putting people on a pedestal that is above or below us. We should not be taking care of others in a way we would not take care of ourselves. And it goes back to you can only give what you have. You can only show what you have, what you know. You can only truly be what you are inside. So if you cultivate something within you that is pure, you are going to be putting that out and you're going to be on that grid and you're going to be feeding that grid. And the more we work within here, the soul, the mission, if you choose, here's the mission. If you do so, choose to take it, the mission. And there's no failing because how far you've already come is amazing. And there's absolutely no failing this journey. Because think about it, if a baby, and this is kind of sad, I don't mean to trigger someone, but if a baby is born and then doesn't make it to the next day, did that baby fail? No, not at all. So whatever level we make it to, wherever we are, it's so much further than maybe we could have comprehended, no matter who we are, even if we're homeless. We don't know what our journey entailed. We can't get that info. We might be able to get bits and pieces of it, but okay. So the more you work from within here, the more you work from the inside on that self-love, that soul part of you. And that doesn't mean, and I want to be very clear about this. I try to say it all the time, and I want to be so clear about this. There's a huge difference when you love yourself. You do not let people abuse you. Now, I want you to imagine having a puppy or an infant or a child. How would you allow someone to treat stranger, family, friend? How would you allow them to treat your puppy, your child, your infant? And with all of your love and protective nature, you would never allow harm to that. And most of us are more protective over our partners than we are over ourselves. We will battle for our partners, but we would not battle for ourselves. Having complete and total self-love means having that same instinct to protect yourself from harm. Now, I'm going to say it one more way. Just whatever you believe in, God, source, Jesus, whatever you believe in, imagine it's right next to you. It's inside of you, actually. And someone was going at, let's just say, God. Would you let them? No. You would do everything you could to be protective of that source, of God, of that, right? Now you are a spark from that and it's inside of you. So you should be that protective over you. You should be that protective over your source, your center. Now, 100% that protective. So being love doesn't mean you're that understanding of other people's inability to be respectful and safe. It means removing yourself from those situations. Being love, having self-love, 100% means you are as protective with yourself as you are those you are in love with. And you don't have to be protective in a way where you're mean. You can just remove yourself, or you can say that's not acceptable. And if they don't like it, tough noogies, tough cookies, and you move on. You don't have being spiritual and a good person doesn't mean giving somebody 20 chances to show you they're the same person they showed you they were the first time. That doesn't make you a good person. That makes you a person that does not maybe have the healthiest boundaries for yourself. You would never give somebody 20 chances to emotionally or physically abuse your puppy, would you? Do you not deserve that same thing? And I will say this, in order to get your frequency up there, in order to maintain where you want to be, you don't want people pulling you down. And believe me, they will come because people are human and we're surrounded by humans. Everybody's on their journey and they're in different places on their journey. So one of the things in order to, and you don't have to cut everybody out, but you do have to minimize that time with people who may not have your best interest at heart, who may be harmful to your energy or your psyche or to your physical self, whatever it is. But okay, so now let me get back to this. If you want to elevate your grid, understand yourself. Because once you completely understand yourself, and that in itself is the never ending journey, because you are always changing, the whole world is in you, everything about you will always be changing. And to know yourself is to know the entire world and everybody in it. So you don't have to get to know the cranky lady from down the street. We can be the cranky lady from down the street. Once we understand that in ourselves, we don't have to understand it in anybody else. But the point is, get to know yourself unconditionally, without judgment. Know yourself. Okay, you are multi-dimensional, multi-being within one. And if your source is the spark of God, and it is, or if your soul is the spark of source, and it is, then you are everything and everyone, and you are unfolding those layers of yourself. And the more you unfold those layers and get to know yourself, the more you know the universe, the more you understand other people, the more they call it being self-aware, but just the knowing without judgment will get you up those grids. And once you're up those grids, you are working on the shift. As it says in the book, make the magic, peace, and harmony, tipping of the scales. And it doesn't happen, it happens from it happens because your energy has shifted. Because yes, you have shifted. So I want you to think of the time when you were the saddest. And I don't want you to stay there long. I just want you to think back of a time when you were very sad, maybe a breakup, or you lost a parent or a pet or something. Okay. And you now come out of that. Come out of that. Okay. And think of where you are now. Think of the shift in everything you can do now in comparison to that time and that time frame. Now, realize that's never ending, but you're never at the wrong spot, because we're always moving forward. We're always moving up. We're always, and what Rebecca said earlier about the joy and the happiness and the existence. Once we get there, we are surrounded by that. Does that mean that's going to be the whole of the world? Probably not, because there will always be people who are where they are on their journey, and it's okay for them to be there. We were there. We get it. We were there. And if they come into our energy, it will shift them, if momentarily, but then if they leave and they don't hold that energy, they may go back. And I've had the experience where people get in my energy and they're like, this is so peaceful, it's so good. And it's not me, it's just the energy. I don't take credit for this. I'm so happy, or this feels so good, or whatever it is. And then they leave and they go back to their own thoughts and their energy. But when you're around somebody who enlightens you, because as we go up, we get lighter, it's enlightenment, because we're letting go of the heaviness. And if we can let go of that, if we can enlighten ourselves, or if we're around somebody who enlightens us, who brings us up, and it's genuine, and we can hold on to that feeling, and move on with it, then we have a shift. And the same goes for other people. We cannot force them to let go of things. We cannot force the change in their mind, that they're not thinking about those things that are heavy to them. But when they're ready, they will automatically let that go. It just won't matter anymore. Just like with us, when we were at that point that was very heavy, and then we let it go, or we moved it, became less of in the forefront of our mind, so that we could move on and then go shift up and up and up and up. Others will also do that when their time is right. But once you get to a certain level, like Rebecca at 17, Kathy at 14, EMAC at 12, Michelle at 14, then we want to always be in that range, but working toward the next. And we get to the next in the same way everybody does: enlightenment. Now, enlightenment can have two meanings. It can mean, um, our light, of course, our light gets stronger and we are brighter and we are moving up, but it can also mean we are getting lighter. And it can mean getting the information. I'm enlightened. I know now. But one of the ways to get there is just to let go of whatever's heavy. So, how do we know what's heavy? Think of something going on in your life that isn't the best thing. Think of something going on in your life that isn't where you want it to be. Automatically, you go from here to it, like sucks the life out of you. It's heavy, right? You have to let that go and know everything is working out exactly as it's supposed to, and you have to move forward. And if it's someone else, I'm going to tell you this, not, we have what I believe to be agreements or contracts. And from the time when we're first born and we come in, those agreements and contracts are with people that we might not be able to control because we're too little to say, hit the road, Jack. But once we hit a certain point, we can say, this is not healthy. We don't have to label the person, right? We don't have to label the person, because the lesson is always you. The lesson is always what's healthy and loving for you. And that's so hard for us to get, because we think to be a good person, we have to be good to everybody except ourselves sometimes. We think to be a good person, we have to sometimes accept bad behavior because that person isn't fully bad. Well, here's my statement. I don't care how you are with everybody else. You may be a fantastic person for everybody else, but if you're not a good person to or for me, that means we don't vibe. I don't care if we're related. I don't care any of it. If you're not a good person to or for me, then we just don't vibe, and vibration, then you don't belong in my life. I don't care how you treat your family. I don't care how you treat other people, because I'm not them. I'm not experiencing that. What I'm experiencing is how you are treating me. And if that is not comfortable, if that does not vibe on my level, I'm going to have to let you go from now on. No matter how much you may love someone, like someone, feel like, well, if they go, then what? Then you're happier, because you're not being treated in a way that is unacceptable. That would you let somebody belittle your child, your grandchild? Then if you allow them in your life, I will tell you this, if you allow them in your life, they will not only treat you that way, but they will treat the people in your life that way. Because that is who they are. That has nothing to do with who you are. It has everything to do with who they are. So I don't care who you are, what title you carry, how much money you have. If you are not respectful or good to me, thank you, but no thank you. And it's very difficult for people to do that because they feel like if they kick somebody out of their life, they're being mean. Then they're not spiritual. Then they're not a good person. It doesn't matter what you look like to the rest of the world. It matters what you look like to you in the mirror at the end of the night. It matters how you feel when you get into bed at night and it's going through your head. It matters how much self-respect you have based on what these people have put you through. And the fact that you let somebody back in once they have treated you in an unloving way, it slowly starts, you start to feel how people treat you. You start to feel how people treat you. So if somebody is not treating you well, you will start to believe that. So it's so important that you can let go of people who are not good to you. And when you start to do that, you will feel better. And as you feel better, your energy and your frequency will rise. And as your energy and frequency rises, you're on that grid along with everybody else working toward that goal that makes the shifts, and then miracles and magic and everything start to happen without you even working on it. Okay, you guys, I'm over an hour again. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's where I'm going to end it. I hope this was so helpful. Next week's question, let me go over next week's question really quick. Next week, Tuesday at noon. What if every life has led you to this life, this spot, this space, so you can evolve not only you, but all you touch? I'm excited about this one because, especially for this group, because look at us. Look at us. How do they do that? That little, is it a 2-finger clap? I don't know. Look at us. Okay, Rebecca, thank you so much for helping. Thank you, everybody who has been here. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I love you so very much. Please treat yourself the way you treat others, and treat yourself the way you want people to treat infants. Treat yourself with the love and caring and kindness that you absolutely deserve. Okay. I will see you guys either Monday or Tuesday of next week. Until then, have an absolutely amazing rest of the day. Thank you for being here.